Hello folks, I am starting a project inspired by Retro Tech Ralph on his YouTube channel to light the Playmates Enterprise D. So I have one here that you can see that I've already taken apart, and as you can tell here, I was able to successfully get it apart without breaking anything so far, because I haven't done the warp engines yet. What I did was I put it in the freezer. I saw another video from a model maker that recommended putting glued parts in the freezer for at least 3 hours. So I stuck it in there for maybe 4 or 5. And then the trick for me was to use a guitar pick. So I have this Jim Dunlop 73mm pick here. And to just carefully run it around the edges after when I was trying to pull it out. Starting up next to the deflector here, back on both sides, and then carefully under here, and then stopping. And then to pry up these two little guys here, I used a very thin screwdriver. There we go. Flathead, and just kind of wedged it up under the end here, straight on, of course. Not the right angle here, but basically stuck it right in there and just kind of gently turned the screwdriver back and forth, almost like turning a screw. But just rather than prying on it outward, you're just kind of turning it slightly, and that, after a while, caused these to bust loose from the glue, and then that was the last part. This part, the saucer section, was relatively easy, starting in the back on the outside over here by the impulse engines, and then working your way around. It's got posts. Some of the posts are going to break, which is fine. But, yep. But I did manage to get it apart so far, and it's going well. So right now, I'm taping it off. These probably aren't necessary, but I'm taping it off to do the light blocking, and I'm going to be using this Rust-Oleum metallic paint to do the light blocking so that it doesn't. Here, I'll show you in case you haven't seen this sort of thing before. Lay my flashlight down here. So you can see how bright light does show through the hull. So that's why we're going to spray it here on the inside with reflective silver paint. And I already know that it works on plastic because I've tested it on my Gold Enterprise D over here, which is sort of my experimental Enterprise. I have 3 of these now because the first one I busted the battery compartment trying to put rechargeable batteries into it. The second one, this one, has a bad nacelle light. Oh, and this is the painted one, so I intentionally painted over the buttons to see if it would still work. Because this is the third one, and it has some small blemishes. I don't even know if you can see them, but it has some small blemishes on the hull. So I thought it would be nice to re-gold it. And as you can see, it's pretty similar, not too much different. So I haven't decided for sure if I'm going to paint this one or just try to clean it with a Lysol wipe and hope the stuff comes off. But the gold paint, which I didn't do the engines, I only did. Basically, I did the button section, and I did the crap out of the speakers just because I wanted to see if the speaker could survive getting paint on it. But I used the gold version of the Rust-Oleum metallic paint for that. So that's why I'm sure it's going to work on the inside of the ship, and it doesn't matter how it looks. So anyway, so that's where we're at so far. I also wanted to talk about Windows. Not Windows 11, but ship Windows. So this is the one with the bad light and the gold paint. And you can see here where I attempted using a wood burning tool with the hot X-Acto knife tip to try and make windows. This is my guinea pig enterprise. So I tried that and that didn't work. So then, here we go. There are our windows. So I got this amazing thing called I think it's called a wow stick. It's a little tiny battery operated pen vise drill thing. And then basically all you do, see if I can hold the camera and do this at the same time. Find the window you want to do and put it right in the end. Now this thing is wobbly AF, but as long as you have it where you want it to go, it's alright. So now I'm going to put that on the top part of the window. I'm going to try to do the center part of the window if I can get it on camera. Alrighty, so you get the idea. And then I have my screwdriver. It's just about the right size for the hole. I can stick it in there. Try to make sure the edges are square. And then we pretty much have a window. So hopefully it won't be as horrible and tedious as it has been for other folks. And yeah, so it's underway and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I just sprayed on our first coat, probably only coat, of the silver for the light blocking, and it's just got to dry. Also wanted to mention that I'm using one of these stands for the gold version of the Enterprise, which the battery cover fits the regular original Enterprise just fine. So I'm just going to unscrew that and try to get it as close to the regular color as possible. And then probably going to try to run some sort of cable up the inside of the stand. Now normally I fill these stands with hot glue, which is probably going to be the case here too, which makes it a lot less wobbly. So all those compartments get filled up with glue that makes it way more solid. So anyway, that's where we're at so far. So now I have the bottom part of the saucer section all taped off, making special effort to cover up the impulse engine. And she's ready to paint. So I've got the bottom part of the saucer section all painted, and it's nice and silvery. This is 2 coats 10 minutes apart. So basically your coat windows within 15 minutes. So, and then after that you'd have to wait until the next day basically. So I did 2 coats, and I also checked it with my very bright flashlight to make sure that there wasn't any light bleed. The only place I had it before was around these struts and next to the captain's yacht on both sides. But so far, as far as I can tell, I guess it doesn't help that my phone has the light on, but yeah, as far as I can tell, it's looking pretty good. Alright, so let's try that again without my phone light. Maybe something there, but it looks pretty good, I think. And you'll notice I covered the posts. That's where the screw posts with the screws seat into the tops of each of these posts here. So I wanted to make sure that there was nothing in the way of it fitting together as tightly as possible, or as tightly as it came when it was new originally. So I went ahead and covered those up. Probably not necessary, but figured it wouldn't hurt. So that's where we're at now. Now we have the engineering section to go. Okay, so now we have the upper bottom section all taped up and ready to go. Might have gone a little overboard with the taping, but just in case, these parts are going to be covered in probably an aluminum foil, and then going to give it a good spray. Okay, so you can see here the upper bottom section all painted. Again, two separate sets of coats, 10 minutes apart. And then over here we have the last section of the main ship, which is our bottom. And you can see where I've taped off all the posts and any holes. And this is my solution to not having to do anything with those fragile J pieces there. So I'll just hold it by the bag when I go to paint it. And that should be the easiest way to do it, I think. So, and then after that, it'll be all done, except for, the painting part of it will be all done. And then on to the warp engines. Okay, you can see we have here the last piece painted. I messed up and forgot to tape off the inner lip of the main deflector, but I can just take that little bit off the sandpaper, no problem. But otherwise, everything looks good. All's well. Well, it looks like a little bit of 91% alcohol, while it's still fresh, takes that stuff right off. So I just put some on a cloth and gave it a little wipe, and any place the silver went crazy, that's all taken care of. So when I checked the saucer with my big flashlight in the dark, I noticed a lot of light leakage around the bridge. So I decided to go ahead and take it out for a minute, and well, maybe a little bit longer, because I've got to go ahead and spray that spot. I also noted I should mention there was leakage here before. I had to spray that a little bit extra, and I noticed a little bit around these posts close to the buttons. So I'm going to give that area another shot, and then this minus the bridge, and won't worry about the little extra thickness from the paint. I'm sure the bridge will go back on just fine. But anyway, so that's the plan next. So here we have our parts all painted and all the masking tape removed, and I've got some aluminum tape over here, so in case there's any problem spots with light bleed, I can put a little patch of that on there. I didn't want to use that by itself, because then every time I drilled a hole I'd have to drill through the aluminum tape, and I don't know what, that just seems like a pain. Like that's more trouble than I need. So it's just there in case of emergencies, and everything pretty much looks ready to go. Now I guess the next part, besides trying to crack those warp engines open, would be to start drilling holes. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this part one of the video series, I suppose it'll be. And I hope it's helpful, and thanks for watching.